In the quiet township of Weathersby, England, Cecilia sat in her antiquated study, pen poised delicately above the thick parchment. The pale amber light from her vintage desk lamp cast a soft glow, illuminating her elegant, cursive script. The letter began with, "Dear Alejandro." On the other side of the world, in a bustling suburb of Buenos Aires, Alejandro eagerly awaited the monthly arrival of the letter bearing the familiar Weathersby stamp. The postman's whistle was a sweet symphony to his ears, often followed by hours of cherished reading. Cecilia and Alejandro had begun their correspondence unexpectedly, brought together by a misaddressed letter. Intrigued by each other's worlds, they continued writing. Their correspondence blossomed from friendly exchanges to a deep emotional connection. With every handwritten line, the gap of miles and oceans between them seemed to diminish. But while the letters bridged the physical gap, they still knew little about each other's daily lives, choosing instead to discuss their dreams, hopes, and philosophical musings. Cecilia often mused about the nature of time, how it seemed like an endless river, but with banks that could never be seen. Alejandro, on the other hand, believed in destiny's hand, and how some connections were preordained. Years passed, their bond deepening, both silently yearning to meet the person behind the words. Then, one day, Alejandro's letter carried a proposal. "Meet me at the foot of the El Ángel statue in Retiro Park, Buenos Aires, next month. I think it's finally time." Cecilia, her heart fluttering with anticipation, wrote back a single word: "Yes." The day of their meeting was veiled in a thick, almost unnatural fog, a stark contrast to the usual bright Argentinian sun. As Cecilia approached the statue, she saw a silhouette of a man. Alejandro, recognizing the lavender perfume from the letters she had sealed with a kiss, turned around. Their eyes met, and the world seemed to freeze. Hours felt like minutes as they wandered the park, laughing and sharing stories, their connection even more potent in person. But as the evening shadows lengthened, Alejandro's demeanor changed. He hesitated, looking down, then finally said, "Cecilia, there's something I haven't told you." Her heart clenched, fear gripping her. "What is it?" Taking a deep breath, he pulled out an old photograph, yellowed with age. The picture showed a young couple, looking strikingly similar to them, standing by the very statue they had met at. "This," he began, "is a picture of my great-grandparents, taken over 100 years ago." Cecilia gasped. She reached into her purse, pulling out an identical photograph. "This was passed down in my family, Alejandro. They told me it was a distant aunt of mine." A chill ran down their spines as realization dawned. Their ancestors had shared a similar bond a century ago. "I found their letters," Alejandro continued, voice quivering. "They had met, just as we did, through letters. But they never got to be together. My great-grandfather vanished under mysterious circumstances, leaving my great-grandmother heartbroken." The weight of the revelation pressed down on them. Cecilia, her voice barely a whisper, asked, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" Alejandro, lost in thought, responded, "I believe some stories are destined to repeat until they find their rightful conclusion." The fog around them grew dense, and an inexplicable fear took hold. Were they doomed to repeat the tragic fate of their ancestors? "I don't want to lose you," Cecilia murmured, tears forming. Holding her close, Alejandro whispered, "Our love won't be defined by the past. We'll write our own story." With determination, they decided to confront the cycle that seemed to haunt their lineage. Researching their shared history, they uncovered an old tale of a jealous rival who, having lost to Alejandro's great-grandfather in a duel of love, had cursed the lovers to never unite across lifetimes. Determined to break the curse, they sought out a local shaman. After a night of rituals, chanting, and a deep spiritual journey, dawn brought clarity and peace. The shaman, with wisdom in his eyes, proclaimed the curse lifted. Years later, Cecilia and Alejandro lived a life filled with love, cherishing their unique bond. Their home was adorned with letters, old and new, a testament to a love story that transcended time. And as they grew old, side by side, they often pondered the mystery of their shared history, concluding that while destiny might set the stage, it was the power of love and determination that truly shaped their story.